Welcome to Trading Lounge and the European indices, and with the DAX here on the daily chart, we've been looking at it in a couple of different ways. One of them is that we have wave 3 here with an A wave here, B wave here, C wave here, D wave here and E wave here for a Elliott wave triangle. So this would be the A wave, a B wave and a C wave to finish this off here, and then a move up. The other way to look at this too is that we have wave 4 low in here, and we look at this as wave 1 going up here, an A and a B and a C for wave 2, and then up for wave 1 and back for wave 2, and then moving up here again. In fact, they're pretty much the same counts in here, so it doesn't make a whole lot of difference. So let's just go in and have a look at both of those counts and look at some strategies within all of that. But there's not really a lot of strategy in here until we actually, complete this wave E here, or wave 2 of a smaller degree. So on the bullish side of this, let's just go in and have a look at that. So with wave 1 up here, an A and a B and a C for wave 2, and then from this low here we've got wave 1 and 2 here, then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 for the third wave, back for the fourth. And yes, I did get this wrong here, but on researching it further, we've got a 1 and 2 in here, and a 3 and a 4, and an extended fifth wave here for wave 1, and looking for wave 2 to come back here. So we can look at this in a bit more detail in a moment, but that's how the bullish one pans out, and it's pretty much how the other triangle pans out as well. So just two different ways of looking at it, I guess. So wave B, an A and a B and a C for wave C here, and then an A and a B and a C here for wave D, and then an A and a B and a C here for wave E or 4 here. So it's very similar in what we're actually looking at here. So we'd take both of them on board, of course, but just going into the hourly chart here, this is still the bullish count here, but it doesn't make a lot of difference. So from this low here, wave 1 and 2 here, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here for the third wave, the fourth wave, the 1 and the 2 in here, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third, the fourth wave here or here, but 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and I've got the fifth wave right on this low here, high here, just in here, rather than this one here. Now this move here, I'm not sure about this, because I'm not sure if we need to count this I'm not sure if I need to count all of this as wave 1 to here, right? Or I can count 1 and 2 in here, and then 3 to here, and then 4 to here, then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here. So I don't know if we've got 5 waves to here, or we've got 3 waves to here. Let's go into the tick chart here. I mean, in a nutshell, this is from last time. If you're short, then that's fine. From here, that would have been moving over to that low there to enter into that, because it would have been the setup. But we don't need that. But just let me clean this up here. I might just go to the tick chart, actually. I'll just save that. I see, what I'm thinking is that I don't know if we got basically an A, B and C wave to here, and we've got our low in here. I don't know that, or we've got this to play out here as even this low in here is an A wave here. The 61.8% retracement level is basically about here. I'll just double check that. I'll just take it from the high to the low here. Yeah, I mean, it comes in on there. So what this can do for us is that if support is found on the 12,650, then we know that we're bullish from that point. But we know the market can go up there and fail, so it really has to sit on that level there to do anything. So even if we looked at even if I looked at this as wave 1 to here or wave 1 to here, then that would make all of this the wave 3 here. So then from here down to here, that's the 38.2% retracement level. So what I can say is that if this market now moves, if it moves above this high here, right, then it's going to go into this space here. And it can still fail from that point. If it fails under here somewhere and starts to move down, then we can look at this as the A wave coming down to this space here. Okay, and then we would see it bounce off there. And if this occurred here, then that would give us 5 waves down all the way down to here, and then we would need to look at the B wave moving back up at that point. So we can draw, if it moved to here, then we could look at this as an A and a B and a C moving back up here, and then of course 5 waves down to finish this off here. And this would be the same for both counts that we have. So it's not so it's quite handy in that way, in that regard. So I'll show you, we'll go into the tick chart, we'll have a look at this, but I just need to draw it out here because I can't draw on this side on the tick chart here. So just on the tick chart here, I might have to put in a bit more data and a bit more. So so when I look at this here, I can count this as 1 here and 2 here and then 3 here and 4 here and 5 here. It doesn't count very nicely because there's slightly overlapping wave structures with this one and this one, but it would be the same here too, this structure overlapping this one here. And if I took the 38.2% retracement level from this high, or pretty much even this high here and down to here as 5 waves, as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then the 38.2% retracement, it's already moved to 50. So any move above that, then it cancels this out of being a 4th wave here, because that's what we're thinking that all of this for wave 1, right, and then wave 2 here, and A and a B and C for wave 2, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for the third wave, 4th wave, and then 5th wave down here. So in this case here, we can look at 5 waves coming into this space here. So yeah, because what sort of confuses me is that I don't know if we call this in down for 1 and back for 2 here, and then all of this, the 3rd wave here, then the 4th wave, and then the 5th wave here. I mean, if that's the case, it is expanding, isn't it, to the downside? So wave 1 is small, 3rd wave is whatever it is, it's bigger, and then this one here becomes more defined here in its structure. So, but either way, the 50-60% retracement level from these highs here down to this low here brings us up into this space here. That's the important number, and I always harp on about this particular number here being more important than the 600 and the 700 here, and it will become valuable. Well, become valuable here and also become valuable later on as well. It's a halfway point between 5 and 8, and it just plays out nicely. So look, bottom line is I don't know if this is wave 4 here, but if it moves straight down from here, then we can call it wave 4. Then we can call it 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here. Okay, so what I'll do here is I'll just put wave 4 with a question mark there, and if it goes above that, well then you know what's going on at that point. So, and if it moves down here, it will move down in 5 waves, as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, and then we're going to see an A and a B and a C move back up into this space here. Well, it probably won't be that high, because if it's down here, lower here, then it'll sort of be back at the 12,600 at that point. Okay, so it will be to there if it comes down to here. So this, I just need to resolve this. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. So moving on to the Netherlands here. So with the Netherlands, we know that Unilever is really strong, so we don't need to follow that, but Unilever did pop up and hit the 50 euro mark, so we know that there's going to be resistance there. So that resistance will show up here. So with this structure here, it can be finished now because we were looking at this is wave 4 here. Just clean this up a little bit here. And if the DAX rallies, well, then this is going to move higher here as well. The wave 5 looks a little bit short compared to wave 1 and 3 here. So we could be looking at this. Let's remove that as just the first wave up. And coming back and then moving further. I just don't know just yet, but if that top gets taken out, then we'll know that this is 1 and 2 here, and then 3 and 4 and 5 coming up into the same story here. Either, well, I think it's bullish, so I'll put that there. So I don't know if that's there or just there at the moment. So still in, but all of this tells me this trend is not finished yet to the upside. So, but yeah, depends on what the DAX does. If the DAX drops, then this is just going to stay here because of Unilever is sort of at the 50, so it needs to sort itself out there a little bit. But this is all still quite bullish here for this, so I'm just going to save that. And the UK market, as you know, was sort of giving me a bit of a hard time in a way because the pattern that we've got going sideways across here, I mean, it could be bullish. It could be up for 1 and back for 2, and then up for 1 and A and a B and a C. It hasn't broken any rules doing that. Then up for 1 again and back for 2 here, and it could be bullish. And in that instance, we'll go for a long trade here. But at the same time, it does count quite nicely as an A and a B and a C for the A wave, an A and a B and a C for the B wave, and then up for the C wave here. So an A, B, and C here, finishing here. So it can drop here. So now that we've got, now that it's moved along a little bit here, we can look to, if this number here becomes a retested resistance now, we can look to short. Okay, it's that simple. I wanted to see this complete to the upside here, and it's done that now. So that's sort of how that looks. So yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about the count at this stage, but the trade setups are, I mean, it's basically vibrating across this number, which is the same as the, we talked about with the DAX between 500 and 800, but in this case it's 500 and 800 here, and it plays out a balance point. 600 and 700 is important, but this is really where it's playing out at here. So look, a breach above here, it sets us long, and below here it sets us on the short side. That move from here down to here does appear to be in 5 waves, so it can certainly be bearish, but let's just buy new highs and sell new lows at that point. The MIB as well, if we could just bring that across here. So excuse the mess here, but we're pretty much sort of on track here. What I've understood is that for what wave 3 here, an A and a B and a C for wave 4, that's all fine, and then we're looking for 5 waves to the downside here, and that's fine here as well. What I wasn't sure about is that this 5th wave here hasn't really made a new low here from wave 3 here. So it's possible that if I can just copy this, it's possible that this wave 1 here is actually wave 1 here, and the wave 2 here is the wave 2 here, and then we're coming down as wave 1 here, wave 2 here, and then we come down further keep moving down through here. Okay, so that was the first thing in the bigger picture, so that would help with the downside. If that is wave 5 here, then we can look at this as being wave 1 here, and then an A and a B and a C wave here for wave 2 here. Okay, and in this case, then we would move to the upside from here. Okay, so to handle this situation, we thought to ourselves, well, once we get our high on above the level of 22 here, then we can look to go long here. Okay, and that would sort of satisfy it at that point. At the same time, if we were going to go lower, we would want to make sure that that we're below group 2 here. So this is group 2 here. I just call it 65, 72 and 80 here as such. So in looking at this here, we also need to know that we're not going to get trapped too. So with an A wave here and a B wave in 3 here, that means the C wave here has got to be in 5 waves. So it's a little bit tricky to count here, but I do think that there's one more little move to come down here. So once that's in, then we can, once we got that low in, let me just remove these things here. So we figured it was going to come down into this space here. So this is really quite messy in here, but in a nutshell, it's, well, why don't we, if we got some little guys here, no, we don't have those, so let's just organize this. So wave 1, I'll just leave it like that for the time being, but I'll just put it in here. We'll make that smaller here, just the next degree smaller, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. In counting this down here, I think we've got wave 1 here, wave 2 here, all of this is wave 3 here, wave 4 on top of this one here, and we've got wave 5 to come down here, of wave C of wave 2. Now we don't know what the count is, but we still need to allow that 5 waves there. Once we've got that 5 waves in, then we can bring this up and go low there, because that if that low there, it's either going to go straight up from there, or it's going to go up in 3 waves here to the 50-60% retracement level, and then it's going to come down from there. So we'll be able to get a better trade too across this way. So this is, all of this is starting to resolve itself, but we're not, we don't need to move in just yet. Okay, so this is a little bit messy in here, but I was looking at on the tick chart. And normally the tick chart goes out quite nicely, but this is it here. So I've got it in a different labeling, but it doesn't matter. It's really the the count that's important. So this is clearly wave 1. Wave 2 is cool. And then I'm looking at all of this being wave 3 here. This is not cool here, because I can see that this is 5 waves here, then a correction. Then we've got this is like the 3rd wave here, the 4th wave and the 5th wave. And the problem with that is that this wave 3 is really small. But I have to call it wave 3 because this corrective move here is wave 4 here. So this is really messy, and I could certainly have it wrong. But I don't know how else to count this. I mean, does that? I'll need to find it on the cash market to have a look. I'll need the code for the cash market. I'll need to find that to check it out. But this appears to be corrective here. So this would be 1 and 2 here, and then there would be 3, 4 and 5. So we still need, even though I've got this labeled differently, we still need to look at this not finished just yet here. I suppose you could go long above this one here, but that would be high risk at that point. Okay, but it's possible. So let's just check this out for a second. If I took this space here and this one here, no, we can't take that. because it will only find resistance here anyway. It'll only find resistance at 2900. We're better off waiting for 2900 to become a tested support and then get a small position here and then start building on this level here if that was going to be the case. So look, we've moved ahead a bit more, but we've still got more to go to finish this last leg here. So yeah, it's still in that space, so we'll just have to leave it like that for the time being. Yeah, you can put some trend lines in here. They might be helpful as well, but we don't have a trade just yet for this. So alrighty, thanks for tuning in, much appreciated. Cheers.